What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joey Work, and I'm back, baby. Playoff baseball starts tomorrow, so I had to do a little preview video for the playoffs. We'll give out a couple future bets, a couple plays for tomorrow. That is Friday, October 7th, and we'll talk through each first round matchup. Have a little fun. There'll be a live show here. Do probably about a half hour. But last time you saw me was Tuesday night. Gave out another winner. Cubs money line -118. An easy winner. They were up like 18-2, I want to say. Something crazy like that they won. But 9-1 last 10 free plays. Your boy's hot. Back for some playoff action, So should be a little fun here. Without further ado, though, I'm going to get right into it. If you guys have any questions, definitely throw them in the chat. I will be here answering your questions, whatever you want, hanging out. Richie Smalls, Mark Richmond, John, Thomas Zeller, appreciate you all. Thanks for the winners all season long. Much love. Bobby M was watching Hustlers Casino Live, but switch over to Joey's MLB hot take. Wow, Bobby. I'm honored, my man. Look, I do got some Run Pure gear too. Yeah, shout out Uncle T. I think Uncle T is the reason I got it, but obviously shout out Amber. Shout out Big T as well. Appreciate you all. I got my gear. It took me 2 years, but happy birthday to me, right? My birthday gets some gear, baby. Love to see it, but I'm excited for the playoffs to start tomorrow. We got 4 games on opening day Friday. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Starting at 12, all-day baseball tomorrow, playoff baseball. Gonna be some fun, but I'm pretty damn excited. So we'll start off by going through, series by series these first wild card matchups. Then I'll give out probably we'll go game by game for tomorrow. Then I'll look at some future bets to talk through you guys as well. What's bet on the Mets series? Listen up. But here we go. So first series is the Rays versus Guardians. Should be a very interesting matchup here. Guardians have been sneaky all year. 92-win team. They did play in the shitty AL Central, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I did have their team total over on the year, so I am happy to say that cash. But so basically we have starting pitching for each side. Tomorrow is McClanahan versus Bieber. It looks like game 2 will be Glasnow versus likely Tristan McKenzie. Game 3 will be Rasmussen versus Quantrill if we get that far. Obviously, Cleveland probably, both these pitching's not terrible. Cleveland definitely has the better bats. Actually, the worst offense going into the playoffs right now, the worst offense that made the playoff is this Tampa Bay Rays team. So as you guys know, last year I wasn't very high on the Rays. This year, again, I'm not very high on the Rays. McClanahan, their number 1 starter. Since coming off the IL, he has really, really struggled. He got rocked his last couple starts. I know the guy's been really good all year, but I mean, we have to take somewhat with a grain of salt. His last 3 starts, he gave up 5 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs. He hasn't pitched more than 5 innings. Obviously, this bullpen is pretty solid as well. But, I mean, playoff baseball, a lot of these bullpens are going to be good. I do expect a lot of probably low-scoring games, if not, a shit ton of low-scoring games, that's for sure. And in his first matchup, I'm not exactly sure that I trust McClanahan yet. He only had 3 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts his last 3 starts. It's kind of scary. On the year, he hasn't seen much of this Cleveland team. I don't know how much you want to take into that. Cleveland has been, not great versus lefties. On the other hand, obviously, Bieber has been great. Essentially, really good his whole career, but definitely had another really solid season. Striking out people 25% of the time, barely walking anybody all year. Guy throws 5 different pitches. He essentially throws 4 pitches, mixes in the 5th time by time, but he's had pretty damn good numbers versus this Rays team. And as I mentioned, I'm not exactly scared of this Rays team. And the last 7 starts, Bieber's only allowed more than 1 earned run 1 time. He doesn't really walk anybody. As I mentioned, strikes a lot of people out. His last start against his Tampa team at home, he did struggle, which I kind of like. I do kind of like that because the start before that, he pitched 7 strong, 8 strikeouts, only one earned run, and that was his only 2 starts versus this team this year. I think Bieber comes in here, pitches a really good game. This is going to be, essentially probably a low-scoring game because even when the Guardians do score, they don't go, they don't score a crazy amount. I mean, at times they do, but when they do score, they don't score crazy amount. I'm seeing Tampa Bay plus 100 on the money line here. And Cleveland on the comeback, -120, -18, -118, -115 via points bet. So I am going to fire on Cleveland Guardians tomorrow, the home team, the early game, 12:07 p.m. I'm taking the Guardians on the money line game one. I don't expect, McClanahan to have a fantastic start. And as I mentioned, I'm not as afraid of this Tampa Bay offense at all. And Cleveland is basically doesn't strike out at all. Cleveland strikes out the least amount out of every playoff team here. So I do expect them to get people on base, if they walk, whatever, any way they can get on base and produce some runs here. Bullpen wise, let me just pull up my bullpen numbers because I have them up. Where are they at? Right here. Bullpen wise, I do have Tampa Bay ranked as the 8th best bullpen, Cleveland ranked as the 10th best bullpen. So bullpen's essentially a toss up. And I do expect probably Tampa Bay's bullpen to pitch more than Cleveland. So I do think Cleveland wins this series. I think they start off by winning game one. So I'm going to not back them to win the series. I'm just going to back them to win game one here. And then we play game by game moving forward. But my first official play for tomorrow, that'll be Friday, October 6th, will be Cleveland Guardians. I gave it out minus 116, I think it was. You could get minus 115 right now. So minus 115 money line tomorrow. Appreciate everybody else. What else we got? Bobby M. Are those low totals exciting to hear your take? I do expect low, baseball, playoff baseball really depends on starting pitching. So I do expect some low scores. Obviously, some games will go over 6 is an awfully low total. Don't get me wrong, but we'll see where we go. So I guess we'll do game by game and then we'll talk series, or we could do either or. All right, next game I have is Phillies versus St. Louis. We got Zach Wheeler versus Jose hard players. What would you say? What would you say if I told you Jose Quintana would be pitching game one? Like, I mean, the guy, I get it. The guy's pitched good this year, but again, I've said this time and time again, probably on this YouTube channel, to run for your best subscribers. I don't trust Jose Quintana. Okay. He should not be pitching game one. See, St. Louis is a good team, right? They play in the Central. Again, I'm down on the AL Central. I'm down on the NL Central. They've got one team in for a reason. Both of them got one team in for a reason because they stink. Okay. St. Louis, their offense is solid. They got they have like 3 good bats. Past that, I'm not afraid of them. And their freaking offense, I mean, their pitching is probably their staff is probably the worst staff in the wild card. They're gonna go with Quintana. They're gonna go with Miles Mikolas, and they have unknown for game 3. I would guess Adam Wainwright. So Quintana, Mikolas, and Wainwright. That's got to be the worst 1, 2, 3 in these 8 teams that are playing in this wild card. Easy. This is the worst. Obviously, offensive wise, they're probably up there. Maybe two or probably about third offense here. I definitely have the Blue Jays ranked up there as one of the better offenses here. The Phillies are pretty solid offense as well, but they're probably maybe second or third offense. But their pitching is really what scares me. And their bullpen, I'm pretty sure their bullpen is the worst. Yeah, their bullpen is the worst bullpen in the playoffs. So they arguably have the worst starting rotation. And they definitely, in my numbers, they definitely have the worst bullpen in the playoffs. The worst bullpen in the whole playoffs. So St. Louis, out. They are out for me. I think the Phillies win this series. I think it's going to be close because they are paying in St. Louis. It likely goes to 3 games. But I am not putting my money on St. Louis. I'm sorry. The feel-good story about Albert Pujols, you guys could talk that up. I mean, it's hard not to like Albert Pujols, right? Don't get me wrong. But past Goldschmidt, past Arenado, what's scaring me? Not much. Honestly, not much. Maybe they throw Montgomery. And Montgomery, I'm a Yankees fan. I've seen him pitch time and time again. People were like, oh, Montgomery's so good. He pitched like the first 4 games good, and then he got shelled the last 6. So Monty, I mean, again, he doesn't throw overpowering. So they got 3 guys. They have 4 guys. Nobody throws over 95 miles an hour as a starter. I think they're in for some trouble. I do think the Phillies win the series. Game 1, I mean, I'm gonna probably pass, but I was very close to pulling the trigger on the Phillies. Very close. Zach Wheeler, obviously, he just came back off the IL. I think he had how many starts? He had 3 starts since back from the IL. He only pitched the most he pitched is 6 innings. He pitched 4, 6, and 4. He only allowed 1 total earned run in those 3 starts. It wasn't versus the greatest of competition versus the Cubs, the Nationals, and he did pitch against Toronto. The first start, he only went 4. But as you guys know, Wheeler is a big game pitcher, has really, really good stuff. Phillies bullpen, I know I talk about it like last year, the bullpen wasn't very good. This year, their bullpen numbers-wise was actually much better than you think. I personally still do not trust their bullpen, but their bullpen is definitely numbers-wise, much better than you think. I got them ranked. Where do I have them? They're almost, I got them ranked 7th best in baseball. So much better than you think. I do think, Wheeler's probably likely has a good start here. Then they have Aaron Nola game 2. So say the Phillies win game 1. Then they have Nola versus Mikolas game 2. They could arguably win this 2 games. They could win game 1 and game 2 and say, see you later. And then they go play the Braves, right? Like that could I could see that happening. I'm not like, I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, it is in St. Louis, so St. Louis could easily squeeze out game 1 or game 2. But I definitely think this is likely, if you want to bet an over, maybe over 3 games, or over 2.5 games, or you just take the Phillies on the money line. I would prefer to just take the Phillies on this to win the series. I think that line's almost minus 110, minus 120-ish. So I was somewhat interested in it, but I'm not going to lock up my money in a lot of these series, especially the first couple series. But I will make one series bet on these 4. And then I'm just going to play game by game and beat it day by day as I've done all year. But that's where I'm at on that series. I do like the Phillies tomorrow. I'm not going to make it official. I think the Phillies are the better of the two, but better 2 teams here. The Phillies have definitely played. They only had 6 less wins than St. Louis, and they played in the NL East. Okay. The NL East has 3 playoff teams. St. Louis is 1 team out of the Central. So obviously the NL East is much, much tougher division than the Central. I do think the Phillies are the better team. I'm beating a dead horse here. All right, next game we got is Seattle, Toronto, Mariners, Blue Jays, Luis Castillo versus Alex Manoah. This should be a fun game. Very excited about this. Seattle's been pretty solid this year. This should be a fun series. They haven't made the playoffs since, I don't know, God knows how long. God bless them. Obviously, they traded for Luis Castillo for a reason. Now he's going to start game 1 against his Blue Jays team. And then game 2, it looks lined up, Logan Gilbert versus Kevin the Gas Tank Gossman. Game 3 is Robbie Ray versus Ross Stripling. So I do like Manoah. Gossman. Stripling I'm not crazy about. On the other end, Robbie Ray has struggled a decent amount as of late. Logan Gilbert has had a phenomenal year, and Castillo is Castillo. Castillo is a very good pitcher. I expect this game to be very low scoring tomorrow. Castillo versus Manoah. Mariners obviously have struggled to score. Manoah has been absolutely phenomenal as of late. I don't think he has allowed more than 2 earned runs since August 16th. And basically he's only allowed more than 1 earned run 1 time. So 1 time he allowed 2 runs. Every other time he's allowed 1 or less since August 16th. So the guy has really honed in, pitched really good. And I think he comes out there with the home crowd in Toronto. That dome should be rocking in Toronto. I think this is a very low scoring game, especially early. I think Manoah comes in there, pitches really good, limits. The problem with Seattle is they have a lot of problems scoring. I do think Seattle's pitching is very good. Their bullpen is very good. They just can't score. And I think they go after Manoah game 1 and score against him. His advanced stats this year, both these guys' advanced stats this year have been amazing. Manoah's hard hit rate has been one of the lowest in all of baseball, almost under 30%. And under 30%, you barely see that. X-weighted on base percentage is really low. He doesn't walk anybody. So, neither of these guys really walk anybody. So you're not going to see many extra base runners here. Castillo striking out people almost 30% clip. Sheesh. Both these guys have 4 different pitches, which they use. They have 4 different pitches, which they use. They don't throw, the 4th pitch 2% of the time. They use all 4 pitches over 15% of the time. So I think this is going to be low scoring. So I'm going to fire on game 1 here. I'm going to take first 5 under 3.5 on this game. So Seattle versus Toronto. First 5 under 3.5. I got that at FanDuel at -114. That'll be my second official play for tomorrow. Those will be my only 2 official plays for tomorrow. I'm on this show. I may drop some more. You could go to runpurebets.com, sign up. I'll post them in the Discord if I do drop. If I do pull a trigger on the Phillies, if I do make a move I likely won't make a move on the last game, but if I do pull a trigger on the Phillies, that's where I'm at. As for the series price, I'm not exactly crazy about either series price. The Phillies are, it would be Mariners or pass here, and I'm just going to play this game-by-game basis. Do I think the Mariners can win this series? Absolutely. Do I essentially think they win the series? Probably not. They do have a lot of heart. God bless them. Julio Rodriguez, it's hard not to like that guy. He brings a lot of energy, and he really has revamped this whole Seattle team, revamped the whole city. They truly believe, and God bless them. I think in the future, this team, if they get a couple more bats, a couple guys that can get on base more rather than home run or bust, I think this team will compete in years coming. I just don't think it's this year. I'm sorry, Mark. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's where I'm at. Before I get into the last game, let me see where the people at. Like any no-run first inning. See, I don't bet no-run first inning. You might as well flip a coin if it's going to be heads or tails. Joey Cobra, what up, my guy? There's only one series that matters. There's my guy, Mark. I'm saying their starting pitcher is trash. Yeah, John, I totally agree. Loa, very true. Quintana is not one to be afraid of, so you're talking to yourself to back Philly. Basically, we're October, baby. Other way around. Joey Ray throws game 2, Gilbert 3. Oh, Robbie Ray game 2, Gilbert 3. I kind of like it the way I said it personally, but if that's what it is, it doesn't really change my my thoughts, at least on game 1. We'll see where we're at after that, but that's where I'm at. All right, next series I have is the Padres versus Mets. Yu Darvish versus Scherzer game 1. I'm also hearing that if the Mets win game 1, this is what I've read. Mets win game 1, they're going to pitch Bassett game 2 to try to save DeGrom for the next series. I think that is, personally, I think that's a terrible idea. You have to win the first series before you get to the second one, right? You don't, we're not saying, Chris Bassett, I do not trust Chris Bassett. It is what it is. But on the other side, we got Padres, got Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Joey Musgrove. So, personally, anybody watching this show, if you could ask, if I have to ask you a question, who do you think is the best rotation in these 8 out of these 8 teams? So the Rays, Guardians, Phillies, Cardinals, Mariners, Blue Jays, Padres, Mets. Who do you think is the best rotation? I'll wait to hear what you guys got to say. But we'll talk about Darvish, Scherzer. So Scherzer obviously has been, and once I see some answers in the chat, I'll talk to that point I have. But obviously, I would think a lot of you are going to say the Mets. They'll probably be a popular pick. I don't exactly know who else you would say second, but as you guys know, Scherzer has been really good. At times he has given up runs, yes, but those times he were versus pretty decent teams. He hasn't really, struggled versus any poopy teams, but there's no poopy teams left. Atlanta hit him hard twice. The Yankees hit him hard. He did get hit hard against his San Diego team. Not like crazy hard, but he gave up 2 earned at home versus San Diego team a little while back, and that was his only start versus them. Yu Darvish on the other end, obviously another guy, he doesn't exactly have the full velocity on his fastball anymore, but obviously this team trusts him. I personally, he has really good stuff. He throws a lot of all-speed stuff all over the place, and if you watched the Mets as of late, they have struggled scoring runs. The Mets pitching is not in question. The Mets pitching is good. They can't score. They've had a lot of trouble without Starling Marte in the lineup. This team has had trouble scoring runs, okay? And Darvish has pitched a shit ton this year on the road, and he has pretty damn good numbers on the road. This year he pitched much better on the road than his career, and it's only got to boost his confidence, because previously coming into this year, he did struggle on the road. This year he pitched much better, so he does have some confidence here. He did win 6 games in a row. He's coming into this game winning 6 decisions in a row, with 5 of them being on the road. He doesn't walk anybody. He pitched against his Mets team back on July 22nd in New York. 7 innings, 1 earned, and 9 strikeouts. He got the dub in that game. He also pitched against this team back on June 7th. 7th innings, no earned runs, 2 hits, and 6 strikeouts. You guys get my drift here? He pitched against his team twice and friggin' shut him down. I mean, Mark Richmond says probably Cleveland as the best rotation. Mariners pretty decent. Bobby M was thinking the Mets. Manoah and Gossman are tough. Mets, Snell. Honestly, the best rotation, 3-man rotation for this wild card is the fucking Padres. The best 3-man rotation into this wild card is the Padres. Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Joey Musgrove. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that not the best 1, 2, 3 in this playoffs? All right, well, obviously, you guys are allowed to have your own opinion. I'm telling you who I think the best rotation going into this wild card playoffs is the Padres. 1, 2, and 3 is the Padres. Like, I get it. Manoah, Gossman are good, but who's pitching game 3 for them? I mean, it might not matter. They might win game 1 and 2, but I'm going 3-man rotation. Game 3, they got Ross Stripling. Come on. See you later. The Mets I could argue the Mets because 1 and 2 are fireballs. 1 and 2 are great. And then we got Bassett, who's like, Bassett's a 3.5. So, but 1 and 2 are great. So I could argue the Mets. I'm not arguing Tampa Bay. I'm not arguing Seattle. Cleveland, I'm not arguing. Cleveland's got 1 and then a 2A, a 3. And New York, they're cold. Yeah, they're cold. Yeah, it's cold in New York. That means runs are going to be a premium. I don't watch or follow the NL, so don't even consider the Mets or San Diego. Yeah. All right. So as I just talked to you guys, I do think the best rotation going into this is the Padres. Bullpen-wise, obviously the Mets bullpen I have ranked as the second best in all of baseball. The Mets bullpen has been absolutely amazing all year. That's where the Padres, that's where the Mets have a clear advantage to me is in the bullpen. Offensive-wise, the Mets are slightly better. But in the playoffs, I really value starting pitching more than I do offense. Because why do you think these lines are 6, 7 at most tomorrow? Because they anticipate these being low-scoring games, pitcher duels, and more than likely that's what happens in the playoffs. So I'm doing it, guys. I know the Mets fans aren't going to be happy with me here, but I'm going to take the San Diego Padres to win this series, not tomorrow's game, to win this series. Essentially, I do think they win tomorrow's game, but you get a price on the series. So if you win tomorrow's game, you could hedge. So I'm getting the Padres to win this series plus 164 via FanDuel. With that said, if I think they're going to win this series, they then play the Dodgers next. The Dodgers have somewhat been their kryptonite, okay? They've seen them a shit ton. How many times they play them this year? They're in the same division. A shit ton of times. They have been their kryptonite a little bit, but they also have the most popularity where they know the most about them. So, with that said, I think the Padres are going to win the series. I have to take a chance on the Padres to win the NL and to win the World Series. And guess what? The longest odds in the whole freaking futures are the Padres. We ain't coming here I'm not coming on here and giving you chalk saying, hey guys, take the Astros at 2-1. No, we don't. I'm not doing it like that. Okay. So I'm taking the Padres to win the National League plus 1,500. I'm putting a half unit on that. I'm taking the Padres to win the World Series plus 3,500. I'm putting a quarter unit on that. So if you guys normally bet $100 a game, that's $25. If you normally bet $1,000 a game, that's $250. It's a quarter unit. So if you lose a quarter unit, it's not the end of the world. That's for damn sure. You lose both those. You lose both those, you don't even lose a unit. So it's good. If they win this series, you lose both those, you're still up a unit, a full unit. A little less than a full unit, about 94 cents. I mean, we'll take that. But I got to take the value. Plus 164. That's the only line you're even seeing that juiced up. Every line is heavily favored. I have to do it. I'm sorry. I have to do it. It just has to happen. The Padres offense is not terrible. It's not bad. They did just add Juan Soto. Their lineup, they added Juan Soto. The guy they got from the Reds he mashes lefties. I mean, this team is sneakily good. They're just getting no respect because, they came in a little slow. Josh Bell has shit the bed since coming over. Brandon Drury has been amazing. Cronenworth is good. Hung Sung Kim, don't sleep on that guy. The guy has the heart of a dragon. He obviously wants to win every day. Machado, I mean, this team, this team can compete. I do think they compete. I think they surprise some people. I think they beat the Mets this first series, and then we're just playing with house money after that. So I have to take the chance there. That'll be my future bet. I'm also going to take the Braves to win the National League as well as another future play. I took the Braves last year to win the National League, took the Braves to win the World Series last year. So I am going to take the Braves to win the National League, not the whole thing. The Braves to win the whole thing is 5-1. I'm going to take them just to win the National League at plus 250 via BetMGM. Okay, so basically the way I'm looking at it is I think the Phillies discard of St. Louis quite easily. And then it's going to be the Phillies versus the Braves. I think the Braves are clearly the superior team here. So I think the Braves easily walk into the NL Championship game. Hopefully it is against the Padres. But if it's against the Dodgers, I'm getting 2.5-1 against the Dodgers. I'll play with the house money, So I'm not gonna bet them to win the World Series because 5-1. I mean, to win the World Series, that's not. Last year, I think they were like 18-1 to win the World Series. So I'm not gonna do that. But to win the NL, I think they have a pretty damn good shot. So I'm gonna take them to win the NL. So those are my official plays for the futures. Who I think is gonna win each first round wild card series. If you do have any questions, definitely throw them in here. And I gave you out two official plays, free plays for tomorrow, day one of the playoffs wild card. Excuse me. I am very, very excited. You think the Padres win tomorrow or the last two? So I think the Padres do win tomorrow, meaning the odds are just going to drop. And if they lose tomorrow and the Mets truly throw Bassett in game 2, I think they win game 2. So it's going to be, I think this is a 3-game series no matter what. I think they're playing 3. If Bassett throws game 2, if they don't throw DeGrom, if they don't throw Scherzer and DeGrom, the Padres are going to win 1 or 2. I really, really think that's happening. So, Richie, if you want to bet the Padres both games, you can do that. If you don't think they win game 1, you want to bet on both games, you could do that. I prefer to take the higher plus money. So I'm getting plus 164 on them to win the series. So if they win tomorrow, you could bet the Mets the next 2 games is still win money if you wanted to. But that's where I'm at. Soto kills the Mets too. Yeah, Soto, he played against the Mets. He probably dislikes the Mets a lot, being in the same division as them, wants it. Soto's a guy that high energy, wants it every time he gets up there. Soto is a guy I love to watch the way he plays. Even when he's at the plate, he does that little, try to intimidate the pitcher. I mean, how can you not like that? It's baseball. I mean, I'm riled up. I'm very excited for baseball, guys. If you have any questions, now's the time. I did 28 minutes talking to myself. So, I mean, there was a decent amount of you in the chat sending me questions. I do appreciate it. Taking a raise 23-1. Gas station, just send me the money, bro. Send me the money. The Rays, bro. The Rays are the worst offense in the playoffs. They have, obviously, Glass now is good. They have to win game 1. If they don't win game 1, there's a problem. Glass now is good. I get it. But he's also just coming back from injury. He could easily tweak something and get hurt. And McClanahan just came back from injury and hasn't pitched a good game since he came back. So, I mean, I get the rationale. 22-1. Throw some peanut butter on it, some chump change. It's all good. I don't blame you. I'm just going to take my shot elsewhere. Appreciate you, Johnny Mangini. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate everyone hanging out for this year. Obviously, I'll be back. I'll be back next week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, doing a couple more free plays. I'll give out one free play for you guys for the next day. I may or may not tweet something out Sunday, another free play. I mean, my streak, I think I won. How many free plays in a row have I won here? 6, 7 free plays in a row on this YouTube channel. I gave out a play on Twitter on Sunday. They gave up 6 runs in the friggin' first inning. It is what it is. Can't win them all. That's for damn sure. But, yeah, man, positive mojo. I'm very excited for baseball, for the playoffs. As you can tell, I am very ecstatic. It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, and I'll also do, so after this round's over, I'll do another preview video for the next round because obviously this is the first time they added added 2 teams in the playoffs. So basically a whole nother series where people get a whole bye teams get a whole bye, and you know, I'm somewhat interested to see how that affects the teams that do get a bye. You know, if they're cold game one or whatnot. Obviously, their starters will be rested, and as the Mets are think is a smart idea to do, but we'll see. Again, appreciate you all. Hit the like button. Otherwise, I'm out. Joey Works out. Peace and love, baby.